Good morning. Today we're going to take a look at XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum along with the Sigma coin. All right, starting with XRP. So we have had a pretty complex weekend here with the initial spike off the lows for the Fed meeting, a correction for a flat, and then another move to the upside here where we ended up having a lot of crossing ABC to the upside and then another ABC down. Um, Trying to figure out what this overall structure is has been kind of a little bit of a curious one where uh, it's definitely not very clean. We have a five wave here, but then there's a whole bunch of other just kind of correcting overlapping chop that's occurring in this range. Because of this, as we're looking at the shorter time frame, there's kind of been a shift of what we've been looking for, and what we now are possibly seeing, what was anticipated to be a five-wave move to the downside going into this region, we got front ran and shot up based off of the Fed meeting. So now what's happening is that this price action is shifting now towards a triangle. So rather than counting this leg here as a larger five-wave move, because of all of this move right here and all of this chop, this has now actually become an ABC. So we end up having an ABC structure right here. So interestingly enough, that means that we're probably looking at, yet again, even for this price action here, now an ABC to the upside, giving us a push back up to this region and getting us towards $3.28. And then we have to come back over and roll over one more time as low as this area here, possibly closing this gap that we haven't finished here at this point in time. So we can actually have an up move to the top of the range and then a pullback down here, finishing the triangle, which for those who are looking for the understanding of a triangle, you're going to end up having a multiple letter here. So you have A, B, C, D, and E. And this E can go all the way to the bottom of the range, or it can stop halfway. But realistically, if this gap stays, I could see and justify a movement to the back portion of the range. Then from there, once that's all completed and done, which it looks like it could wrap up here towards the end of this month, you can then start working your way off of the lows and give yourself a move to the upside right here. If we continue at this velocity, right? So maybe right there. So we'll just kind of measure that out and just, maybe a little bit later. Yeah, there you go. That looks better. Take us into the first part of September towards the Fed meeting. And then we have some excitement through the Fed meeting playing out. And then just before the Fed meeting hits, we could be sitting up here in this region, in the $4 range. That's kind of what we're seeing now play out in the price action. So it should be up and then down. And all of this range here is just because nobody knows which way it's up right now. And the Fed is definitely doing a good job of ensuring that nobody knows what's coming. Okay. So now, why did we decide that Ethereum was one that's worth looking at? Well, zoomed in here on the short price timeline, we can see that Ethereum has actually had a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 off the lows. So whereas when we were in the short time frames for XRP, we really couldn't see much of a five-way move here, and then this overlaps. You can see that this one crosses below that. But if we're kind of working a triangle assumption, now you can kind of see a wave one, an A leg to the upside, maybe even over here, then a B leg back down for this triangle, this three-wave move, and this now can actually move up impulsively for another choppy third wave up into this region. Yes, definitely a lot more complexity to this market than it's been for a long time, and I just don't know if we're necessarily ready yet. And you can see that with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin had the fear narrative that they manifested right at the end of wave A. This line, this A here, I did not move at all. We just kind of eyeballed it based off of the time it had been taking down the mountain here. And lo and behold, it tags it perfectly, and now we're kind of working our way back out of this. So the question is, where does this B kind of line up? Like, we may have a more aggressive B here. So we'll just kind of see how that plays on Bitcoin. But the overall idea being that Bitcoin is going to do an ABC correction down here and end up giving us a completion of this move. And then we can start going, which would probably, again, line up around the Fed meeting. So uncertainty into the Fed meeting, more uncertainty into the Fed meeting, and then we can finally get out of here. So um, that's basically the main parts for what we're looking at here for the short term. So the idea being we should have a quick up bet, trailing stops, and the ability to move up here and be able to take some profits, and then we can flip short with our bias here. So Sigma's doing pretty well. Despite all that dump yesterday, it only lost a smidge in market cap. Buy volume and sell volume is starting to, sellers showed back up to the party. They're not ready yet to let this thing get all the way there. But the good news is this gap has been closed. And again, on the 3-day, we're looking at a good momentum to the upside. So we're starting to see this play out here. So a little bit more upside, I think, over the next few days for that triangle should help us kind of work our way out of here. And then we can start hitting these higher targets in price action. So hopefully soon. But yeah, this has been a nice long journey that we've been taking across the mountain, across the desert. But comparing it to what we're expecting for the Cardano chart, this is kind of where we're located. We're going to start moving through here, and my anticipation is we'll start just kind of marching out as the ecosystem and people looking for higher gains of XRP start manifesting due to the fact that money is going to be made. And if we're looking at a larger XRP triangle pattern, this chop is going to play with everyone's mind and just say, like, look, I'm just kind of getting tired. So XRP people know what being tired is all about. So, but yeah, that's basically the overview for the quick trade right now, looking more and more like a triangle with these corrections that we're end up seeing here. And yeah, it's definitely a very complex time period. The good news is that this moves us up to the top of the range, and then once that plays out, it ends up having a correction and then back to this region, and then we can head out of here. So at minimum, you can even just hold on to your longs, get up into this region, take profits, and then come back down again. So we will continue to monitor and see what we can do, but that's the overall plan for XRP and the Sigma coin at this point. We'll talk soon.